this is another issue that we look at in terms of the trends that have been happening with councils across the country, and specifically within our communities in terms of closing down resources. I do mention on a regular basis the organisations who have been lobbying effectively and also consulting with government and local authorities. I speak frequently about Access UK and the consultation that Nana has in terms of a parliamentary level, in terms of a Downing Street level, and with City Hall. It's very important that we connect the dots in that these grassroots organisations can coordinate with councillors. But having explored exactly what the policy of benign neglect is, it's pivotal that we vote at this time and we vote in candidates like Hughie, like Gwenton, and like Desmond Jadu, so that they can make these transformational changes that don't exclude us because we're special, but include us because we're ordinary. So another important part of the fabric of Enfield is the elderly population and the fact that they are very much overlooked. And in the time of COVID, them socially gathering is very hard. They have concerns about their health, and there are services that they may not have access to. So very similar in the way that I'm aware that youth services have been closing down on a regular basis. And now that there is all of the deficit in local authorities based on the COVID expenditure, that is going to translate to older people who are even more vulnerable because they may not have their families around them. So what are your plans for the elderly in the borough?
Well, first and foremost, we have to try and secure all of those buildings that have been shut down and shut out. And what I can see based on my evidence within Haringey and Hackney is that there's been a concerted effort by real estate developers to try and push for these elderly centres, these West Indian centres, to be shut down and then redeveloped into high-rise luxurious flats and shared housing. And so we have to make a point that we save these buildings and we make sure that we have something allocated for the elderly of the area. Many a time, all of these buildings have just been given notice, or within a few months, they're shut down and taken back from that council, as you can evidence as what's happened there in Tottenham, with buildings that you're probably familiar with too. So I'm not just saying this for here, but this is going on London-wide and nationwide. And so we've got to put a stop to it. And one of the things that we can do is that if we have people that are within the council that are councillors, they have a responsibility, especially if they sit within the planning committee. Because if we have people that are sitting on the planning committee, most of these buildings can be saved. And some of the developers that want to develop on these buildings, that can be blocked if we have a strong presence within the council. There's so much that we can do as a people on a local level. I'm not talking about central level. I'm not talking about MP level. I'm talking about on a local grassroots level, because we hold that balance of power. This is going to be some of the three words that I'll always be mentioning during my campaign. We hold the balance of power. Balance of power. Those are the three main words, key words. And if we vote and if we have our own elected officials, we can control what goes on and what is done and how things are managed. Also, we have the ability to decide who is tendering for certain contracts. I would like to do some research into the business side of Enfield Council to find out how many of the contracts that they have are appropriated to people of colour.